And now I'd like to talk as myself, if I can go on about this episode for a little bit. Thanks for the Memories was a fun episode. Maybe not what we were expecting, but still a really good one. The phrase thanks for the memories is like the phrase thanks for the memories, which is often used by the comedian Bob Hope at the end of his shows. It's also a popular phrase in other senses, but that's where I think of the reference being to. One of my absolute favorite references that gave me the biggest laugh was the Clear Skies and Open Skies sketch with fluffy clouds at the end. That was absolutely hilarious to me. It comes straight from the same style of comedy as Abbott and Costello, and they got the voices and timing and attitude of the sketch perfectly. Other cartoons have done this type of sketch before too, like Animaniacs, for example, did the one with the different bands from the 1960s at Woodstock. That was a lot funnier presentation, but I still enjoyed My Little Pony for what they did. Also, the mention of horse hockey, it took me some time to realize the connection there, but horse hockey is actually one of the catchphrases from the series MASH, as used by the character Colonel Potter, who had a long list of horseisms that he always used in his everyday speech, horse hockey being one of the many things he would say when he got angry or found something ridiculous. He would say, horse hockey. There's also a reference in the episode to Game of Thrones, but I didn't catch it because I don't watch that series and haven't paid attention to its advertisements. Although winter is coming is a phrase I've heard in movie trailers and stuff of that nature. I thought it was a reference to Captain America Winter Soldier, but I know nothing about Game of Thrones, so I don't know what else it could have possibly been. The Rainbow Dash song is something that fans have been waiting for, and those of us who went to the cons or saw the videos from the cons knew that there would be a Rainbow Dash song sometime this season. Well, we did get a great Rainbow Dash song in Awesome As I Wanna Be. This was the first solo song for Rainbow Dash, the pony, and it was really catchy, kind of a villain song, but kind of also a best friend song. And it's sort of like, be your loyal, dedicated best friend, and I love you, and I want you to stay in my life and never go away. And to that extent, I'm willing to break the law and do all kinds of crimes and property damage and cause mischief, and I don't care if I'm in the wrong as long as it keeps you with me. It's a real mixed message, but after reflecting upon it, we can get over how wrong Rainbow Dash sounds and start to sympathize with her and what she's going through. In a way, this is Rainbow Dash's mental break episode. A lot like Lesson Zero or It's About Time. In fact, it's a lot like It's About Time, because Twilight wanting to stop time and Rainbow Dash wanting to stop winter are similar things, and both involved sneaking around in ninja form and trying not to be spotted, even though you're in a place that you're probably allowed to walk around freely. There's a lot of great world building in this for Cloudsdale and for how the weather is made and how Cloudsdale works. A lot of great moments for Pedicii, background characters, and they used new background characters instead of relying on established characters like Cloud Chaser, Cloud Kicker, Soren, etc., which would have been fun to have seen in the episode too, but it's also nice to show off new characters and give them decent personalities and decent voices and make us enjoy those little segments. Segment with Fluttershy telling Rainbow Dash that she's going to be petless, followed by the segment of Fluttershy sitting on the bed and comforting her, is the perfect way to show that Fluttershy is still the element of kindness, but no longer the shy wallflower that would have never said things like this in the first season. Fluttershy has developed a long way since her days of Dragonshy and has become a much stronger character, willing to tell Rainbow Dash very bluntly the truth, able to argue with Pinkie Pie and almost hate her, maybe even holding a grudge for what Pinkie Pie did in Philly Vanilli, which actually holds up my theory that Fluttershy is the least friendly with Pinkie Pie and the most friendly with Rainbow Dash. Fluttershy has been really showing the character development, and in a way so has Rainbow Dash, showing a wide range of emotions. While many moments feel childish or selfish, many of them actually show a much deeper, much more complex character to Rainbow Dash than just straight up arrogance. So I really appreciate what they're doing, even if it's not always done in the most ideal way. We got some excellent callback with the running of the leaves, and then there was the section where Rainbow Dash was discussing hibernation with Fluttershy and immediately in denial. Now, I don't know how much about hibernation Rainbow Dash picks up when she's cloud busting and Fluttershy is saying animals need to be woken slowly. I mean, the two have worked together on Winter Wrap-Up many times, and in all that working together, Rainbow Dash never picked up anything about hibernation from helping Fluttershy awaken animals from hibernation. Even though Rainbow Dash's job is clearing clouds, not waking animals, she still assisted slightly. We also got further confirmation that it's been less than a year in showtime, even though it's been 4 seasons for us, the audience. Which also means that some of these episodes are shown out of order. I was also surprised that for something called Thanks for the Memories, we didn't actually get to remember things about Tank. I was expecting to see like maybe flashbacks or sequences of things Rainbow Dash remembered about Tank, maybe stuff that happened in the past but not on camera for the show episodes, or maybe doing a clip show type thing. But I'm kind of glad they didn't go in that direction, because I wouldn't want to watch a clip show. A lot of great stuff in this episode, and 2 other things that it reminded me of. One was the animated James music video that parodied Winter Wrap-Up by showing how miserable the ponies are during winter, which makes me think that animated James might actually enjoy the fact that Rainbow Dash wanted to stop winter. The other thing that I got out of this is it reminds me of Turnabout Storm. Both involve Rainbow Dash taking weather clouds, tampering with them, and creating a dangerous, potentially life-threatening situation. The only difference is that in this episode, Rainbow Dash gets off with no consequence. In Turnabout Storm, she gets dragged to jail and court and put on trial. It was also fun to see Rainbow Dash go through the 5 stages of grief without having to spell them out. A lot of times on TV shows, the characters will say, "Oh, so-and-so's going through the 5 stages of grief, and those 5 stages are blah, 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 blah." And it's sort of like telling instead of showing. And what this did was show instead of tell, which is something that I appreciate them doing because it's worked out better keeping it subtle than to turn it into something that had to be explained through unnecessary exposition and so forth. We already got too much exposition on what hibernation is. Apparently both Spike and Rainbow Dash are uneducated enough to not know what hibernation is. It's also making me curious to learn more about Rainbow Dash's past. Had she ever been alone when she was a child? Is she trying to avoid the pain of loneliness finding her once again in her life? And did she drop out of school and get a bad education, leading to her having very little knowledge on things she should know about, and lots of knowledge about things that she does care about? There's also the question of how the ponies can walk in Rainbow Dash's cloud house. A lot of people can just jump to the conclusion that there's a cloud walking spell in effect, and that somehow cloud walking doesn't prevent you from passing through cloud walls, which I thought was a neat visual effect. But I also heard hooves clopping on the clouds, or on the floor of the house. And the floor of Rainbow Dash's house does also support all of her furniture and her turtle. So maybe Rainbow Dash's house is a mixture of cloud and not cloud material, and maybe there is a material used for the floors that isn't cloud and is solid. And that also brings me to the Weather Factory sequence itself. That reminded me a lot of the Augusta Gloop sequence from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I half expected Oompa Loompas to come out and start singing a song about Rainbow Dash. I'll let you people who are listening out there write the Oompa Loompa song explaining what Rainbow Dash did wrong, and post a link in the comments. And another thought, now that Twilight has her wings, this can be the first winter that Twilight can do winter wrap-up and assist with the cloud busting. Another thinking point, if Rainbow Dash can land in a closet of lightning in a jar and get electrocuted by a lightning bolt falling out of that jar, and she can survive that electrocution, then it's possible for ponies to survive electrocution without the electric-proof suit. So now we have in-canon information that interferes with the events of Turnabout Storm. Anyhow, as always, thank you for watching, and good night.